The Whispering Shadows. It was a cold winter night. A man, a young journalist, drove cautiously along the lonely mountain road. The mist rolled in thick waves, and his headlights barely cut through the darkness. Suddenly, his car screeched to a halt. In front of him stood a girl, dressed in white, drenched as if she'd walked through a storm. She stared at him with hollow eyes, whispered something inaudible, and vanished into the shadows. A man felt a chill creep up his spine. Little did he know, this was just the beginning of his most terrifying night. A night he might not survive. A man had come to the secluded village of Nathgar on an assignment. The village was notorious for strange disappearances, and locals spoke of a cursed mansion that no one dared to enter. Ammon, being a skeptic, dismissed the tales as mere folklore. He had been tasked with uncovering the truth about the mansion, rumored to house unimaginable horrors. The locals warned him, "Don't go there after sunset. The shadows there whisper, and once you hear them, they never leave you," said an elderly villager, fear etched on his face. But Aman was determined. He had seen enough ghost stories debunked in his career. He believed this was just another story blown out of proportion. The next day, a man reached the mansion. It stood atop a hill, surrounded by dense forests. Its crumbling walls and broken windows gave it a menacing look. Inside, the air was heavy, and the silence deafening. Dust covered every surface, and the faint smell of decay lingered. As a man began filming, he noticed something strange. The temperature dropped rapidly, and faint whispers echoed through the hallways. At first, he thought it was the wind, but then he heard his name. "A man!" He froze. "Who's there?" he called out. The whispers grew louder, more insistent. He followed the sound, heart pounding, until he reached a room with a locked door. Carved into the wood was a symbol he didn't recognize. He felt an inexplicable urge to open it. Inside, the room was untouched by time. A diary lay on an old wooden table. As a man flipped through its pages, he discovered it belonged to a girl named Mira, who had lived there decades ago. The last entry read, "If anyone finds this, please free us. The shadows have trapped our souls. They feed on fear. Save us before it's too late." Suddenly, the door slammed shut. The whispers turned into anguished screams. A man felt something cold brush against his neck. He spun around, but saw nothing. Panic set in as he realized he wasn't alone. As night fell, the mansion came alive with eerie phenomena. Shadows moved independently, objects levitated, and ghostly figures appeared fleetingly. A man tried to escape, but found that every door and window led him back into the mansion. Desperation set in. He turned to the diary, hoping for answers. One entry mentioned an ancient ritual that could break the curse, but it required courage and unwavering faith. It also warned that the shadows would try to break him, feeding on his deepest fears. Aman began the ritual, lighting candles in a specific pattern and reciting the incantations written in the diary. As he did, the shadows grew more aggressive. They whispered his darkest secrets, taunted him with visions of his past mistakes, and tried to convince him to give up. At one point, a shadow took the form of his deceased mother, pleading with him to stop. Tears streamed down Aman's face, but he refused to give in. "You're not real," he shouted, his voice trembling. The shadows screamed in anger and swirled around him, trying to snuff out the candles. A man fought back, protecting the flames with his hands. Just as he completed the ritual, the shadows coalesced into a monstrous form. It lunged at him, but a man held his ground, clutching a small talisman he had found earlier in the mansion, a symbol of protection mentioned in the diary. The talisman glowed brightly, and the shadow monster let out an ear-piercing shriek. The room shook violently as the shadows began to dissipate, one by one. The ghostly figures trapped in the mansion appeared, their faces filled with relief. They whispered, "Thank you," before vanishing into the light. As dawn broke, The mansion crumbled into ruins, and a man found himself standing on the hill, the diary in his hands. The nightmare was over, or so he thought. Back in his car, a man glanced at the diary one last time. The pages were now blank, except for one line written in blood-red ink. The shadows never leave. A man's reflection in the rearview mirror smirked, but he wasn't smiling. What happened to a man after that night? Did he escape the curse, or was he just another victim? The mysteries of Nathgar's haunted mansion remain unsolved. If you want to uncover more chilling tales like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.